Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope everybody's doing well. We're going to be talking about today something that OpenAI actually published. It's called GPT-OSS. It is an open source version of ChatGPT's LLMs, large language model. Why is that important? And again, some of you have seen that announcement already and you have experienced. This is extremely important because of the fact the performance of ChatGPT, the way we are very familiar with, it can be almost equal with an open source version that is locally run. So what does it actually really mean? It means your data you can download into your laptop and your server and run your models, and you're not touching internet, and you don't have to pay for ChatGPT as well. So this is a really big difference. It's a open source series. OSS stands for open source series, and you know what GPT stands for. A lot of people don't know actually what GPT stands for. It's a generative pre-trained transformer. So that means that OpenAI's model, the transformer models they have an open source version. So this is extremely important, and I wanted to make sure that you do understand what's the implication of it. So you can read up, you can go to openai.com and GPT, you can just search in Google and you can find it. If you search in GPT/OSS, and then you will find introducing GPT-OSS from OpenAI, and it gives you all the details, and you can go through every piece of it. And here is the very important thing: this uses all the models that OpenAI has used so far and the learnings from it. So I'll tell you each of the technologies they're using, or at least the most important ones they're using. But before I do that, I'm going to show you the data points. Okay. You see, if you look at this, they have two models. One is 120 billion parameters and another one is 20 billion parameters. And it has about 117 billion actual total parameters for the first one, and about 21 billion parameters. Now, the bigger model, we know a smaller model that I can learn in my cell phone, or I can learn in my laptop. And this method is called quantization, meaning that a large one, I have to package it up for a small version, and that's called quantization, so that I can run the same model. It gives you a little bit less performance, but I can learn, this is my laptop, I can just run it in my laptop. As long as I got 16 gigabyte of memory, I can run it. And for the larger one, I need about 80 gigabyte of memory. But some of you have the laptop with 96 gig. I've seen some of those things, but those are very high-end laptops, and you can run locally as that. Now, there are some active parameter per token. So what happens? What is token? You already know what token is. Token is whenever you type something, give something an instruction, or get something from the large language model or generative AI, and those are called tokens. In the language of large language models, it's called tokens. Now, when I type something, in this particular case for OSS, they use something called mixture of experts. Okay, let me simplify what mixture of expert is. Let's say you're doing homework. Okay, if you're doing homework, there is a math, there is an English, there is social studies, 3 different subjects. Okay, now there is a question come up. Now I see what the question actually is. Okay, and the question that coming in is the token. Okay, so I see this is a math question, and that's called router. Okay, it's a router network that I'm gonna be transferring that to, from this or math to English or social studies. Because it's math, so I will only go to math. Make sense? I'm not going to go to the whole place to figure out the response. And that's called mixture of experts, meaning that this trained model, this particular model, whenever I'm asking a question, it's figure out which model where to go to and only find that information from there. And that chunk area, that small parameter area that I go to, like math versus science versus English, that is the active parameter per token. So whenever a token comes in, instead of going to 117 billion parameters, it's only going to go to 5.1 billion parameters. It gives you significant amount of efficiency, reduction in computer resources. So all in all, it actually are very good on that. So 5.1 billion parameter for the bigger model, and the smaller quantized model, it's 3.6 billion parameters. And how many experts we have? We have 128 experts for the bigger model and 32 experts for the smaller model. So hope you understand. So first technology it uses is mixture of experts. Is that making sense? Hopefully everybody's clear on that one. And an active expert, how many experts actually work at a time, is 4 experts per token. And the context length, we know about context length. I had videos on context length. That means that total input plus output, total window size, all of the tokens together is 128K. 128K, approximately you can think about 96,000 words. 96,000 words. So it's a huge number you get. You know, it used to be significantly small, like 4,000, now it's 128,000. So it can actually produce a very large context, very large output, and it can also take a very large input. So we are now that you understand the core of it, and this is a really good, very useful model that we can use. Where can you download this one? You can download is, as you know, we have done it in Ollama. You know, I was doing DeepSeek before. So if you go to Ollama, go to models, you see GPT-OSS. When you go to GPT-OSS, you see GPT-OSS has a 14 gig version. That means you need 14 gigabyte of memory, and you can just go to this one and download it, or you can go to 120 billion parameter, which is 65 gig of memory that you need. Typically this is the 16 gig version, this is the 80 gig version, so you can see it. So if I go into further detail, you can just download. You can copy this. Sorry, that's the Ollama download. You can copy this and run it your command prompt, then it will download this particular model. So you can see this is an open source model, okay, from GPT, from OpenAI. It used to be all closed, now they have opened it up. You run it locally, you're not sending any data outside. That's the benefit. It uses mixture of experts. That means it's very compute optimized. It's not going to everybody and asking everybody questions. It's going to a certain, you know, with the expertise, with a certain set of parameters, not all the parameters. Now it also has an attention. We know all about attention. The transformers are mostly about attentions. What made it happen in OpenAI, the first version, the GPT first version, 3.5 I would say, and onward, it's tremendously helpful, because how you say it, when you're listening to a teacher, when you're listening to me for at this moment, how am I saying and what word I'm saying, you trying to figure out which word that's coming out of my mouth you need to put attention to. So that's a very important one. That's something that you want to think about, so that again it uses that particular attention mechanism as well. So in the attention mechanism, you know, it actually uses different words. It's called alternative dense and locally branded sparse attention. Okay. Let me explain to you what it is. Because dense attention means that where every word you need to look into. Okay, a computational basically a huge amount of computational need that you have. Your computer has to be very, very powerful. Not every word, I'm sorry, every other word. That's what I meant to say. So what it means in the dense mode, there are a lot of them together, and you are focusing on those things. On the sparse mode, if you're just thinking about a word, only look at its nearby neighbors. A neural network, machine learning has a lot of neural network. It's a lot of neighbor concept, meaning that are you close to these things? Do you look, let's say it's a black and red, do you look colorfully like red-ish or red close? Then you are within the neighborhood of the red. And if you look blackish, then you are maybe within that color looks like blackish, then you're gonna be within that black neighborhood. So red versus black, the neighboring a type of situation, that's what you're looking at in the sparse mode. And the dense mode is the words, every other word. And in the sparse mode, you're looking at the neighboring words. So remember one thing, this is extremely important because the attention, where do you put the attention? You putting the attention every other word, or you putting the attention actually into like, oh, okay, this looks like it is within that neighborhood per se. Okay. And also another thing, it's called GQA. A lot of you might know it. It's grouped multi-query attention. So group multi-query attention is when I do a query, every query, it has a key and value. It has a lot of you are familiar with the data in unstructured data format, where we talked about key value pair, and this is exactly what it does. It's figure out there is a key, there is a value, and it checks against that particular word. So in GQA, I'm gonna actually try to give you these things first so that you guys can follow along with me. Attention mechanism of GPT-OSS. Okay, if you see that attention mechanism, I just typed it. It has group multi-query attention, and again, this is the one that I was just talking to you about, meaning multiple queries bundled into a group, and it has a single key value, key and value. Okay, so that's the one that you are thinking about from that perspective. It also uses something called ROP, or rotary positional embedding. So let me explain to you what that is. Again, you can look into it into detail, further detail. Like older method actually added a number to represent that word's positioning, like maybe it started from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you just went that particular number, where is it placed, okay? And how the relationship between the word number 1 and word number 2 and word number 3 or word number 5, something like that. So at this moment in the rope works in rotating the words embedding. And it's it's kind of like, because the dimensions are different, a lot of dimensions that you have. Again, this is very technical. I'm sure you're gonna read up on it. I can ask, tell me like it's a 5-year-old and answer that question, okay? And this would actually give you that answer. So let's say a simple thing. Let's say a dog is chasing a cat. So the dog comes first and the cat comes next. And that means in visualization, the dog is number 1 and the cat is number 2. But the dog is chasing the cat. So dog 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, number 5, 1 and 5 are the words that I'm focusing on it. And this is kind of like the rope mechanism that you're thinking about. Now, if I reverse it, the cat is chasing the dog, it would be a different thing. Is that right? So that you understand what that rotary positional embedding or the rope method is. There is one more technology that is interesting that it uses. I'm gonna call it harmony renderer. Harmony renderer, give me 1 second, in GPT-OSS. Harmony renderer is one thing, like this is an instruction, okay? Like you have, I was just putting together a lamp. Now, yes, the lamp has all the components, like how am I gonna put that thing in? So I need an instruction, because I might not know which goes first, which goes second, or what the instruction set is. In this particular one, in the GPT-OSS, the harmony renderer provides that instruction, right? They have released a version of Python and Rust, so it's a lot of people are using those languages. It's a very common programming language, so that you can use it. And also it provides with a framework like PyTorch. PyTorch is very well known machine learning framework, so you can really use this mechanism if you want, because it's open source. You want it to manipulate the way that you want and use it, so that gives you those harmony renderer readily usable, so you don't have to think about that. If I go to this OpenAI harmony renderer, it actually tells you the details of it. Again, you can go read out on it. This provides you really important package, so that it's readily available for you to start using as a developer the things that you want to do. Okay, we talked about a few things. I wanted to summarize: mixture of expert architecture. That means instead of going to the whole all the parameters, I'm going subset of the parameters per token. Okay, instead of going to 120 billion parameters, I'm only going to 5.1 billion parameters, and I have 24 mixture of agents, mixture of experts, and I'm going there. So this is a really important piece of it. The context window is very high, 128k context window, so you can produce very large components of it. As well as we talked about the attention mechanism. The attention mechanism is done in two different ways: alternative dense and locally banded sparse attention. Okay, that's the next thing. Then also we have another mechanism which is called GQA, or grouped multi-query attention. Okay, then we talked about the embedding is actually a rotary positional embedding. Rotary positional embedding is that the relationship between the words, which comes first, which comes second, which comes third, and what is the relationship, and relative distance. You can talk about those kind of components as well. This is much more flexible way because you identify those things. Okay, and then make that 120 billion into a smaller set, like the way I just showed it to you in Ollama. Oops, not here. Give me 1 second. Yeah, here in Ollama, that if you go to OSS models, you have one with 65 gigabyte of memory that it requires, or the size of it. To run it, you need minimum, I would say, 80 gig of memory in your laptop, or you can have a 16 gig of memory and you can run that thing. So this is a very interesting mechanism that making the large models smaller with almost all the parameters in it, all the features and function. Yeah, it's gonna be a little slow. It might not perform as good, but you'd have the core of it. Actually, a lot of people ask me Hugging Face. Just so you know, there are two places that you can download it. Hugging Face models. You can go to Hugging Face. All the open source is published here. If you type GPT, you get to see GPT-OSS 20 billion model, and you can read the details there. About 10 million downloaded last month already for this one. Again, you can download these things from here, or you can download it from Ollama repo. So I know today's was a little bit technical, but intentionally I wanted to get this thing out there so you understand. Start reading. This is extremely important for all of us to understand if you are in technology, if you are in computer science, because this is something you are going to be using. You're going to be building some model out of it and running it locally, and you don't have to pay that $20, and all kind of limitation goes away. So with that, this is GPT-OSS. Published, open sourced, so that anybody can use in any of the laptops with the technology behind all those things. This mechanism. Build something amazing, do something really good, make some positive impact. With that, this is Mohammed Zaman again. Thank you very much for listening.